Welcome engineers to Alpha problem. Today's problem is creating a setup for the upcoming Silverstone and Austrian Grand Prix. I've messed that up completely. One, because Austrian Grand Prix is first, and Silverstone is not the Grand Prix. It's the Great British Grand Prix. Anywho, if you did not check out the previous race or episode, check out the card in the top right, because spoilers in 3, 2, 1. We won Monaco whilst being stupidly aggressive with some overtakes and also doing the last 10 laps without any audio whatsoever. So I do recommend checking out that video, because I give you the final 5 laps complete with just the audio that I was listening to. With also, of course, my
So
audio
anyway,
in
the
the
referee
background.
calendar's been announced.
So,
I saw it yesterday. 8 rounds. Back to Monaco. No Azerbaijan, which is good for me. And all of my good circuits, none in Americas, and it's basically Europe and Australia, and where's the other one it goes to? The middle.
Bahrain is the other one. So yeah, I was talking about the Formula 3 calendar that around this time in real life did get announced in preparation for, if I win this season, I'll be moving to in-universe Formula 3. So obviously looking at the calendar just to find out what it's going to be. No, not Formula 3 for 2025. That in case, obviously, I am in Formula 3 for 2025. Most likely though, based on the trajectory.
Okay, so I feel like I need more downforce.
5 for Formula 2. Anyway, we should probably be ignoring that, as setups are what we are focusing on today.
Is it you? I don't remember. Whatever. I'll just copy you. Load setup, apply, okay. See what your setup is. Higher wings as a thought. Okay. Yeah, cool. Just the normal basics, nice. I forgot I'm supposed to do a run with this guy. Let's go.
So as we complete the first run, and then we adapt, where we have a look at the top times, and use one of their setups to get a base feel.
Ooh,
coming across the lines,
okay. A bit too much.
We are losing the rear quite a bit through the final corner, so that's something to look at. Maybe reduce the front and increase the rear on the wings, or maybe something like the suspension. Suspension obviously playing the biggest part in the setups. Let's come across the line for the 4th lap of the stint. It's an alright setup.
It's a good save in my books. What are you 11, 11, 1, 35. What are you 11, 11, 1, 4. Understood.
So we completely revert the setup back to what it was originally, basically.
Racing with true driver on that final corner.
Fire 1 minute 5.2 on the first lap. On the second lap, we're going to come across the line with another 5.2, so the consistency is there on this setup. Pace not so much, but as we come across the line for the third lap, the pace is somewhat there. As we come across the line with a 5.1, still pretty consistent, which is good. And then come across the line for the final lap of the stint with a 5.2. So pace is where we need to look at now.
I can't believe that little setup was better than the top trump. There's one for the clips. When I finally make
Oh
it.
yeah, I tried out clips during this stream. I forgot which one it was. It was this one. Was it this one? No, it wasn't this one. I can't remember. But this was the point in which I did start thinking about, oh, let's restart YouTube. Because obviously, back end of May. And I started uploading again in July. So anywho, we get going again, and 5.0 on the second lap, yes, is a pretty good stint. Same on the third lap, and finally on the fourth lap, we messed it up and come across the line with a shockingly slow lap time.
Spend too much at counteract
with a 15.6.
Not gonna. Yeah, it was only a small. Oh well.
Anyway, let's change the setup.
Yeah, a little bit too much on the front. And let's go suspension.
So we reduce the front wing back down to a suitable level and start playing around with the suspension settings. Seems to work great for pace because we come across the line for the first lap with a 4.9. On the second lap we come across the line with another 4.9. So the pace is really good and consistency is also there. On the third lap we do seem to be a little bit poorer.
I love the fact that I'm not really pushing as well.
And on the fourth lap we come across the line with another 4.9.
Okay, so that was good.
So with it being a good setup, we do make minimal changes to suspension. As we come across the line, it worked pretty well. 4.7 for the first lap, going green for the first time in the session. Unfortunately, the second lap did not see a similar fate, as we come across the line with a 5.0. Still pretty good though. On the third lap, a little bit wobble through turn 10, and we come across the line with 4.8 or 6. And on the final lap, of course, we come across the line with a 4.8. Pretty good. Could be better though, in terms of consistency.
I feel like I'm there.
Yes, so do I.
With the
So we make a small change to the anti-roll bars. Reducing the front by 5. Not quite works for pace. 4.9 on the first lap. On the second lap we do come across the line with a... I really need to reduce the length of these clips. Another 4.9, 2 4.9s in a row. And on the third lap, a little bit of wobble coming out of turn 10. Still a respectable lap of a 4.9 though. Could have been a 4.8, however. And on the last lap we also have another wobble. So balance is not quite there.
A little bit too much.
But the pace is.
Front.
Because we did a 4.9 on all 4 laps.
Was it a case of not enough rear?
To give ourselves some rear visibility, we reduced the front wing and front roll bar, and it seems to work really fine. 4.9 on the first lap, no wobbles through the final corner this time. Unfortunately on the second lap we do invalidate it right at the end, so this lap 4.9 does not count, and then this lap also does not count, upon which we proceeded to do a 5-0, so consistency is still one thing to look at. And on the fourth lap we come across the line with a 4.9, so consistency there.
I've lost the
pace has dropped off a little bit from the earlier setup though.
I've lost the setup that I had.
So we are just going to play around with the parameters now to try and find that lost setup. On the first lap, don't think we found it. 4.9. Obviously we weren't going to find it because we never had roll bars on 8.
It's just
But it's worth a shot trying to find a new best one. 5.2 on the second lap indicates that this is probably not the way to go about it. On the third lap, a wobble at turn 10, invalidating the lap. Also
1 minute's understeer,
gives us that time.
What?
4.9 on that third lap as well. On the fourth lap though, we do come across the line green with a 4.7.
Oh my lord.
Unfortunately though, it was invalidated. So we continue to play with the roll bar, reducing it down to 4. On the first lap, we did a 4.9. So we're kind of just finding a middle ground that we're just sticking to at the moment. On the second lap though, kind of breaking through, doing a 4.8. On the third lap, we make a huge mistake and come across the line with a 16.8. On the fourth lap though, can we bring it back? Seemingly, we're close to the goes, but we come across the line with a 4.9, sticking where we have been for the past couple of stints.
What was the guy? Actually, I want to save it first. No. Oh, for crying out loud.
What was I doing? Was I not matching the format of the others?
5-1.
I wasn't paying attention.
37.6.
Make one change again to the rear suspension and front roll bar this time. On the first lap we came across the line with a low 4.8. On the second lap we invalidated it right at the end whilst doing another 4.8, so the pace is there. Handling maybe not so much because we do keep invalidating the lap. On the third lap we came across the line with a 4.8 again. And on the last lap, can we do anything special? Yes, we can. Go green. Doing a 4.7. Surprisingly, not invalidated at that final corner. And finally, we have enough of the roll bar, so we move on to the ride height. On the first lap, a 4.8 suggests it's in the ballpark of being a good baseline. On the second lap, we make a little wobble at turn 10, was on our way to a 4.8. So it is a very good setup at the moment. On the third lap though, We could have gone green, but we go red right at the end whilst doing a 4.7. And on the fourth lap of the stint, a little bit poor through turn 10, so we do come across the line with a slower lap time of a 4.9, but still pretty good. So we make a small change to the ride height and front suspension and get back out there. On the first lap, we do a 4.8, so we're again matching the previous couple of stints. On the second lap, we do go green through the final corner, lose it though. So we come across the line with a 4.7. On the third lap, can we be more lucky and keep the green through the final corner? Yes, we do. Once again, doing a 4.7. Possibly even matching the previous 4.7 that we had. On the final lap though, we do invalidate the lap. Oh,
thank God. I thought I restarted lap 52. Well, that didn't work.
And in the end, probably one of the best setups we've had. But we do revert it back to the best setup for the final run. As this is obviously the final run of the session. A 5.0 on the first lap would suggest it's not quite the best one though. However, on the second lap we go green.
There we go.
Doing a 4.6, showing that this is the better setup, and especially so with the consistency on lap 3 by matching it, doing the 4.5. And on the fourth lap, can we match it even further? No, not quite. Almost invalidate the lap time, but we still do a 4.6, which is pretty good stuff.
Little issues.
Quickest 3 laps of the session, which is always nice to see.
Into top 11%. Nice.
Stop sighing like that.
It's stupid because the game goes more than 3 decimal places, so it actually is a difference between these 2 lap times, even though this guy should be ahead because of how F1 actually works. Like, look at me, why the hell am I first of all these guys? I should be behind all of them because I set my lap after them. But the game goes more than 3 milliseconds. Goes more than milliseconds. Well, shut up.
In the end, I don't have a look at all the lap times, which is a little bit annoying. However, the lap times do show 4 of the last 6 laps were in the top 4 of laps, which is pretty good sign if you ask me. And then the 5th lap being only 1 stint prior to those 4 laps, which is also a good idea. Which is also good. And unfortunately, the audio again broke, not broke, but copyright. So again, YouTube deleting audio in the wrong place. But we get straight to it at Silverstone with a 26.9 on the first lap. On the second lap, we do come across the line with a 35.2, making a big mistake somewhere in the lap, possibly even a 36.2. On the third lap, we come across the line closer this time to the Ghost with a 26.9. And on the fourth lap, hitting the curb a little bit too hard on that Vale chicane and doing a 26.9. Let's go see what the time trials are doing.
Looking at the time trial stuff I did at the beginning of the year. Game. 5.4 was what I needed to do at Austria. Or was what the AI did. I do the 6-0. So I'm pretty much there. And I'm pretty much there in Silverstone as well. 27.3 from the AI. Oh, there's a... yeah, that's on 94. .1. What would be your setup? Interesting. Really weird on the pressures as well.
The reason I say really weird on the pressures is because I'm stuck in that mentality of old games where lowest pressures possible was a good idea. I eventually realise it on F1 24 that that's not the case, and even though I do realise it, it's not quite the best still, because I've just found that all of them high is better, so at the moment all of them are as high as possible, which is still not the best, but it's a step. Unfortunately, we didn't quite make a step with the setup here.
No, I did. Cool.
And so we're gonna have to try and make our own this time, because the base from the time trial's not that good.
Are the tyre pressures the same for all? Not quite. I'm pretty sure it's this one, because red. Where'd the Y come from?
The alphabet.
I just want to check if the geometry is okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. I think the wings were...
So we make multiple adjustments to the setup and get back out there for the third run. Started out with a 27.2, not where we want to be. On the second lap, can we go a little bit better? No, not quite, because we hit the Vale chicane curve and come across the line with a 27.1. On the third lap, third time's a charm surely. Coming across the line, we do seem to be a bit away from the ghost, as we come across the line with a 26.8, so it is better than the previous two laps. On the fourth lap, what can we do? Seem to be even closer to the ghost. No, not quite, we do another 26.8. It's pace and consistency, not really there, we need to work on both. Minor adjustments though, to the wings, increasing them both by 5 clicks.
That's really indeed.
Fortunately, it didn't give us enough grip through club corner as we invalidate it, whilst also doing a 26.8, so the grip hasn't even worked around the rest of the circuit. Not even on the second lap, where we replicated the lap and did another 26.8. On the third lap, we seem to be far from the ghost, and that shows as we do a 27.0 on that lap. And for the final lap of the stint, can we do anything respectable? No, not really, as we come across the line with a 27.2. Still playing with the wings though. Probably should move on to suspension. Of course, for the first lap, we come across the line with a 26.8, so getting somewhere. On the second lap, we invalidate. and come across the line with a 26.8 again. On the
Oh,
third
no.
lap, can we do anything better? No, we invalidate and do a
Right away from
26.8 again. So the consistency is there. Pace, not so much. On the fourth lap though, we do go green. Fortunately, it does not matter at all because of the invalidated lap. But the 26.4 is a pretty good, good lap time. And we do start playing with the roll bars.
Oh.
Unfortunately, again, I have no concept of track limits and go wide at the club corner. 26.7 to begin the stint. On the second lap, can we go better? Well, we don't invalidate the lap this time. Doing another 26.8 though. On the third lap, we seem to be a lot closer to the ghost. And not by much, we do a 26.7. On the fourth lap, can we do anything similar to that? Nope, we go better. Green as we come across the line with the 26.3.
Oh, one has gone over the fence. Whoops.
At least it's polystyrene. And again, so the NPCs don't actually feel anything. Anyway, make another adjustment to the setup. Kind of going in the wrong direction, although 26.6 is better than where we have been all session. On the second lap, we get close to that, doing a 26.7. If we can get closer to the 26.3 that we did in the previous stint, that'd be that'd be greatly appreciated. Kind of getting there with a 26.8, I think that was on the third lap. On the fourth and final lap of the stint, we get even closer, doing another 26.3.
Need a little bit more front end.
So we try and give ourselves a little more front end by reducing the rear suspension. Sort of worked. We're pretty on it straight from the get-go. 26.4 on that first lap. However, on the second lap we do drop the ball a bit and come across the line with a 26.6. Again, still better than the majority of the session. On the third lap, we seem to be matching the distance and come across the line with a 26.8. So maybe not. And on the fourth lap, we almost came out on top of the ghost, but we still do a 26.3, which is pretty good in my books. So in an attempt to gain some more speed, we change a whole host of parameters, reducing the front wing, reducing the wings, reducing the rear suspension, changing the roll bars and changing the ride height. Not really worked for the second lap as we make a massive mistake, the first in a long while, doing a 40.4 across the line. On the third lap, we do go back to where we should be, doing a 26.6. And on the last lap of the stint, we come out very close to the ghost, doing a 26.4.
Need some front end. We've got about 3 runs left.
The easiest way to give myself a front end would have been to change the front wing, but no, we changed suspension, roll bar and ride height. Sort of worked, doing a 26.5 on the first lap. Alright. On the second lap, come across the line with 26.4, so consistency is there. On the third lap, pace and handling is not, as we invalidate after making a mistake. 34.0 was the lap time. On the last lap, we come across the line with a 26.7 though. So maybe the setup's not as good as it was first made out to be.
Right.
So make more changes for the final stint of the session, and it starts out with a 40.0. Wonderful. Second lap of the stint though, it's much better. Coming across the line with a 26.4. Not quite the 26.3s of the personal best, but on the third lap, we do go green and come across the line with that 26.3. Unfortunately though, we may have invalidated, and on the final lap I just took the piss. And decided to cut the veil chicane, because it had already been a ruined lap. But that is that for today. Silverstone done. Checked off the list. And same with the Red Bull Ring. All we need to do now is save the setup. Apparently I'm not happy with Silverstone. I don't know why. To be fair, it's probably more that last lap instead of the actual setup. So the setup's pretty good. And let's see. This is usually how you can tell whether I'm going to get track limit penalties during the race or not. 4 invalidated laps in the first timesheet is usually all right. 5 in the second sheet gets a little bit worrying, as that is a total of 9 and would be 3 penalties in the race. And on the third timesheet, the invalidated laps ramp up a little bit more, so we do need to watch that in the race. Got to make sure that we stay on circuit during club, which is it's normally odd because I don't normally invalidate around there. So I think I was just going autopilot a bit. And lap 43 was valid, so that's all good. Unfortunately though, does mean that the majority of the best laps will not come from the end of the session because most of them were invalidated. So that is a little bit worrying, obviously, for the setup, because there's not really any evidence, as in more laps, to back it up that it is a good setup. But it'll do alright. Most of the best laps are in the middle of the session, so this is where that setup originated from, the middle of the session, so can't complain too bad. But in the end, that's that. I'm obviously going to hand myself over to the stream to do the outro, but I'll do one myself. Hope you enjoyed, and if you did, check out my channels. This one, Twitch, VODs, and behind the scenes. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
If you enjoyed today, then yeah, whatever. That's that for today. If you enjoyed, why not join me tomorrow, where I'll be doing the Austria GP. And if you need my work as well, we've got bandit as a GP. If you enjoyed tomorrow, why not give me a follow, both on Twitch and YouTube. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Charles is going to win, of course. No doubt about it. Yeah. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.